Many of you will know by now just how powerful of a hero the Patriarch is, not only for Kislev, but just in general. In terms of support abilities, they definitely offer quite a bit, and of course can take these bear mounts, which give them pretty good stats and armor piercing. But in particular, I wanted to draw your attention today to this item here, Daw's Brazier. So, it gives 0.1% heals per second, not Dov's Brazier, it must be said, although I'd be very flattered if it was. In melee, anyway, they get an area of effect, 0.01% heals per second, and minus 1% vigor per second, which is insanely powerful. This is an item I would expect to see on a lower level character, but the fact that it's on a support hero means that running it, particularly in a situation like this, with multiple characters kind of in a squad here, we've got the two Patriarchs plus Tsarina Katarine, all relatively cheap and cost-effective on the bears, with massive armor-piercing damage. Well, not massive armor-piercing damage, but certainly good enough. Decent combat stats as well. Tsarina is definitely no pushover as a caster combat lord on the bear. She can get damage resistance while she's casting. And of course, we also get that sweet missile block chance, plus 12 from the Frost Shield. Is going to be pretty important. I'm up against Wei's Cathay here. He's taking a little bit of an experimental build with Crane Gunners switched in where he would normally take cannons. Let's see how it proves for him. And besides my bear character squad, we've got a front line of armored Kossars, regular Kossars to back them up. On the wings, some horse archers already sweeping up and around. Also got some Kossovite dervishes hidden in the woods here, and some bear sleds being left in reserve for the time being, trying to stay out of range of those crane guns. For Wei here, he's got the 3 crane guns, as mentioned, a Wujing compass as well, Shooting Lord up in the air, some Jade Warriors spread around, halberds and peasant long spears in the back. The horse archers are going to move up and start to poke away primarily at the peasant long spears. Even though they are relatively cheap, it's going to be a decent target as well. And the peasant horsemen significantly overextending here. The horse archers maybe beat them 1v1 in combat anyway. It's probably not a cost-effective engagement, but certainly 2-on-1 here, and especially if I drag them out a little bit and shoot them before engaging, I should be able to defeat those peasant horsemen relatively easily. Their character squad, again, just hiding in the woods for now, not wanting to take too much damage from the crane guns before the fun starts. But Kislev, hybrid troops, are going to pull up on station and just start to shoot, try and draw Cathay out of their defensive position. Obviously, Cathay with Harmony wants to try and, stay stationary as much as possible and in general fight in ordered ranks, right? But being able to draw them out of position should work to my advantage here. Kossars are going to focus fire. Jade Shield popped on those crane gunners who are being focused there. Great job by Wei in order to protect his high-value assets. But here come the bear characters, been able to mostly stay safe from the crane guns. We're going to use this rock Wei was using as sort of a defensive anchor in the center of his formation. We're also going to use it to kind of screen out the crane guns as much as we can. Bear characters will be very important in just providing a nice armor-piercing buffer. And more importantly, they can sustain through this fight for quite a long time with that vigor refresh in particular. And I want to call your attention to that specifically because, man, these color schemes look like the same. Just as kind of a side here. Kind of funny, actually. I did not intend that at all. But anyway, yeah, the vigor refresh in particular. Vigor is so important. It's one of the most critical factors in the game that's underrepresented. I really hope that in a future UI update, they can show vigor live on stat cards, during battle. But the chariots now come through. The dread sleds mounted up with Streltsy in the back. Here comes Tsarina Katarine as well, getting into the bear character squad. We should be able to 3v1 this compass and take it out in pretty short order. Meanwhile, in the back line, the horse archers are still just chilling. They've taken some damage, but absorbing the fire on them rather than any of my more expensive, important units like any of the bears. It's going to be pretty nice, but yeah, notice how, a lot of units are still just barely getting winded, right? But keep your eye on the vigor of Katarine and the Patriarchs as they kind of fight in this big blob here in the center. Taking a wider look, Jade Warriors generally getting isolated and taken out, although they are winning in some isolated pockets there as well. The Kossovite dervishes in the back line just disrupting the missiles, not allowing those crane gunners to stay comfortable for too long. One great thing, Kossovite dervishes are probably the best light cavalry we have ever seen, specifically because of the Kislev passive. The fact that they become unbreakable means you can YOLO kind of fire forget them into an artillery line or, expensive missile line And they will definitely, at the very least, dismount the artillery crews. They'll probably all die in the process, but because they become unbreakable, they're going to hold and tie those units down in a way that, like, Dark Riders only wish they could, to be honest. But anyway, Dreadbear squad moving through. Now the Horse Archers and Kosovo Dervishes coming into combat, just providing that extra little melee punch to make sure we rout a lot of these lower leadership Cathayan units. Balance power already looking pretty well in my favor, and again, the battle was short enough that, like, some of these units are only getting very tired, and I wish I could show you. I mean, it's like armor, a lot of other stats, speed especially. I'd have to look again, but a lot of stats get debuffed by Vigor, and the fact that the bear characters are all just completely full health, not only is, I mean, full health and full Vigor, right? Both of those things being very important. The balance power is just weighing so heavily. Even though I have taken a decent amount of army damage, it's relatively rough for Cathay. I definitely would say that the cannons are going to be better than the crane guns. Wei and I both, decided that together in chat. Ooh, little magic missile from Katarina up in the air. And yeah, the bear characters pretty much could probably beat the rest of the army by themselves, but chariots are still online. The dread sleds still have most of their unit models. Yeah, all their unit models actually online still. Few Jade Warriors still holding out in isolated pockets, but for the most part, we have been able to clean it up. Shingan Lord charging in, though, gets a little bit of a nice leadership hit on those Kossars, but looks like army losses will hit for Grand Cathay, and that's going to be it. So, relatively short one today, but that's kind of Kislev rush, right? A lot of times when you're rushing into Cathay with any faction, to be honest, it's going to be over relatively quickly if you execute your rush successfully, and I definitely think that, like, against dwarfs, against other factions, this triple bear character squad, if you can keep them protected from missiles on the advance, which definitely, depending on map and build setup and other things, you definitely can, being able to just sustain through like an infantry fight, especially just grinding down a bunch of armored infantry, that item, that Dawes Brazier, allows you to do that so much more successfully. And just in general, it makes, like I said, multiple character bear squads very scary. And also, that healing was probably provided to the light war sleds as well. I didn't actually check, and I wish we could see sort of a healing received in this post-battle. But anyway, rest of the army value here, Horse Archers chasing some routing units, getting some nice high-value shots in. Just awesome in this matchup. As currently constructed, Cathay will struggle against most skirmish cavalry factions, so that is something to consider. Likewise, Kosovo Dervishes, like I said, they're the best light cavalry in the game because they can become unbreakable. Fire them into your opponent's expensive missiles, and we'll get value back. Compass, if it was a little bit cheaper, it would be less of a weird bring to take, and I do think as more time goes on, it would be nice for this thing's spells to actually be bound, and I do think a lot of the unit level casters, that is the Greater Demons and the Compass, or not the Greater Demons, not the Exalted, but the unit level Greater Demons, Keeper Secrets, Great and Clean One, and so on, and the Compass really should have bound spells rather than actually casting spells. It's just a little bit janky in practice to have to use your Winds of Magic on it, and would be make the units a lot better and more usable if you could generate value without having to dip into your Winds of Magic reserve. But that's a topic for another day. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this relatively quick one. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thank you once again for watching, and we'll see you next time.